The smell of grilled meat filled the air as the bar roared with laughter, country music, and the clinking of bottles. It was a regular night at the Rusty Engine, a small biker-owned diner tucked at the edge of town. The man behind it all, Jax Carter, was no ordinary owner. He was the vice president of the local Hells Angels chapter. Rough on the outside, feared by many, but those who truly knew him understood he was a man who lived by a code: loyalty, respect, and justice. But that night, something would test that code in a way he never saw coming. Jax was leaning against the counter, half listening to his brothers laughing at a corner table when he noticed her, Lena, the quiet new cook who had joined the diner 3 weeks ago. She was always polite, worked hard, and never spoke unless spoken to. Tonight, though, something was off. Her movements were slow, her eyes dull, and when she turned to take an order, the light hit her face just right and Jax froze. There was a faint bruise on her bottom lip. He blinked, unsure if he imagined it, but as she moved closer to the counter, he caught sight of more small purple marks around her wrist, hidden under her sleeve. His jaw tightened. He'd seen those marks before. He'd seen them on women who had nowhere safe to go. When Lena noticed his eyes linger, she quickly turned away, forcing a shaky smile. "You okay, sweetheart?" Jax asked, his voice low but steady. "I'm fine," she replied softly, not meeting his gaze, but Jax didn't buy it. He watched her slip out the back door later for a smoke break, and after a moment of hesitation, he followed. The night air was cold, her hands trembling as she lit the cigarette. "You don't gotta lie to me," he said, stepping into the dim light. "Who did that to you?" Lena's shoulders stiffened. "No one. I fell." Jax exhaled sharply. "That's the worst lie I've ever heard." She bit her lip, eyes glistening with tears she tried to hide. Finally, she whispered, "Please, Jax. Don't get involved. It'll only make things worse." For the first time, Jax saw real fear in her eyes. And something in his chest twisted. He'd been raised in violence, seen men break bones for pride, but nothing angered him more than someone hurting someone who couldn't fight back. That night, he couldn't sleep. The image of her trembling hands haunted him. He'd seen too many women like her disappear, some into silence, others into graves. And he wasn't going to let that happen again. The next evening, Lena came in late. Her left cheek was slightly swollen. She kept her hair down to hide it, but it was too late. Jax saw everything. His fist clenched, knuckles whitening as rage burned in his chest. When the last customer left, he locked the doors and faced her. "Who's doing this to you?" he demanded. Tears streamed down her face. "It's my boyfriend," she confessed. He's been drinking more." "He doesn't mean it, he just..." "Stop," Jax cut in, his tone harsh. "He means it. And he'll keep doing it unless someone stops him." Lena shook her head, terrified. "You don't understand, Jax. He's dangerous. If he finds out I told anyone..." Jax stepped closer, his voice steady but full of power. "Then he'll deal with me." That night, he made a call to one of his brothers. Within minutes, the Angels' bikes lined the street outside the diner, engines rumbling like thunder. Lena's eyes widened in shock. "Jax, please, don't." He looked at her gently. "No one hurts family. Not while I'm breathing." The next day, her boyfriend showed up at the diner, loud, drunk, and angry. He slammed open the door, shouting Lena's name. But he didn't get far. Jax was already standing there, his massive frame blocking the man's path. The diner went dead silent. "You looking for something?" Jax asked, voice calm but dangerous. The man sneered. "She's my girl. She comes with me." Jax stepped closer until their faces were inches apart. "Not anymore." The man tried to push past, but Jax grabbed his arm and twisted it behind his back with ease. "You lay another hand on her, and I swear to God, I'll make sure you never use these hands again." His voice was a quiet growl that made every hair on the man's neck stand. The boyfriend stumbled out of the diner, humiliated and afraid. Jax turned back to Lena, who stood frozen in disbelief. "He won't bother you again," he said softly, but she didn't smile. Instead, she broke down crying. Not just from fear, but from relief. For the first time in years, someone had stood up for her. Days turned into weeks. Lena started to heal, her bruises fading as her confidence slowly returned. She laughed more, cooked with passion again, and began to look people in the eyes. Jax watched it all quietly, proud but distant. He didn't want to be her savior, just someone who gave her back her strength. One evening, after closing, she brought him a plate of food and sat beside him. "You never asked why I stayed with him," she said softly. Jax shrugged. "Didn't need to. When you're scared long enough, you forget you can leave." Tears welled up in her eyes again, but this time they were different, freeing. "You saved my life, Jax." He looked at her with a small smile. "No, sweetheart. You saved your own. I just reminded you how strong you are." Months later, Lena opened her own little bakery across town. The sign above the door read Angel's Oven. Every morning, a group of bikers would park their Harleys out front, not to cause trouble, but to make sure she was safe, and every once in a while, Jax would stop by, grab a coffee, and smile at the woman who once hid behind bruises but now shined with light, because sometimes, real strength doesn't come from fists or fear, but from the courage to care when no one else dares to. And that's exactly what Jax taught everyone that night, that even the roughest hearts can protect the gentlest souls.